In a dramatic move that marks the latest chapter in a long-running royal saga, King Charles has officially stripped Prince Andrew of his remaining royal honors. On December 1st, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's membership in the prestigious Order of the Garter was formally cancelled, as announced in the Gazette.
Today we are covering a new update involving Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. King Charles has now stripped away the final honours he still held, and the confirmation appeared on December 1st in the Gazette, which serves as the official public record for the United Kingdom. It confirmed that the king had directed Andrew's name be erased from the registers of two prestigious honours. These include the Order of the Garter and the Royal Victorian Order. The announcement itself is very precise. The king has directed that Andrew's appointment as a Knight Companion of the Order of the Garter is cancelled and annulled. The notice states that his name will be erased from the register. The same wording is used for the Royal Victorian Order, which means both honours have been formally removed. The statement comes from the Central Chancery of the Orders of Knighthood, issued via St James's Palace. The language is straightforward and very formal, which is typical of this type of notice. It makes clear that the decision has been made and is already in effect.
I thought he'd already been stripped of all his royal titles.
Well, not quite, Tom, and we have seen this. The Palace, I think, tried to do it quietly, but of course it ends up in the London Gazette, which is the official journal of public record here within the United Kingdom. And at midday today, it was published that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, almost said Prince there, but I forgot, but I didn't quite, has been stripped formally by the King of his Knight of the Garter honour, which is the oldest and most noble order of chivalry in Britain, something he acquired in 2006 by the late Queen.
And occupied alongside noble figures like Sir Tony Blair.
Exactly, Tom. And Andrew Lloyd Webber for some balance as well.
Although the publication appeared in December, it is backdated to the 30th of October. That is the same period when Buckingham Palace confirmed that the king had begun the full process to strip Andrew of any remaining titles, styles and honours. By that time, Andrew no longer used the title Prince, and he no longer had the style His Royal Highness. The palace clarified again that he should be referred to simply as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. These honours were originally given to Andrew by the late Queen. His appointment to the Order of the Garter was in 2006. His Royal Victorian Order knighthood was granted in 2011. The Order of the Garter is the oldest and most senior British order of chivalry, and the Royal Victorian Order is a personal gift from the sovereign for service to the monarchy. Their removal marks the final step in ending his formal ceremonial status.
The United Kingdom's official public record. The statement read, "The King has directed that the appointment of Andrew Albert Christian Edward Mountbatten Windsor to be a Knight Companion of the Most Noble Order of the Garter shall be cancelled and annulled, and that his name shall be erased from the register of the said order." In addition, Andrew's title as Knight of the Grand Cross of the Royal Victoria Order was also annulled the same day.
This decision does not exist in isolation. It is part of a sequence that began in 2019. That was the year Andrew appeared in the BBC Newsnight interview, where he attempted to explain his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. The reaction was immediate. Within days, he stepped back from royal duties. In 2021, Virginia Giuffre filed a civil lawsuit in the United States. Andrew denied all allegations. In early 2022, the case was settled out of court for an undisclosed sum, without any admission of guilt or liability. The lawsuit and the settlement increased the pressure on the monarchy, and the late Queen removed Andrew's military titles and patronages soon after.
He's also been stripped of his Knight Grand Cross of the Royal Victorian Order, which is the highest order of knighthood within the UK. So it's more of a formality because we knew this was going to happen, but it is yet another reminder that Andrew really has lost everything in terms of his royal titles, apart from, you may recall, the dukedom legally and formally, because that does require an Act of Parliament to completely lose it. But the king has basically done all he can within his power to remove everything he can from his brother.
Lately, Andrew has remained mostly out of view. He still occupies Royal Lodge, the 30-room home in Windsor Great Park. There have been repeated reports about a planned move to the Sandringham estate in early 2026, though some sources say the timing of this has shifted. Claims also suggest Andrew is requesting specific staffing arrangements at the new residence and is not preparing to move until these requests are satisfied. As new revelations began to surface this year, it became clear that Andrew's remaining status would have to be addressed. In mid-October, Andrew released a statement confirming that he would give up the Duke of York title. Only weeks later, the palace announced that a full and formal review was underway to remove whatever still remained attached to him.
Buckingham Palace has previously stated, His Majesty has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles, and honors of Prince Andrew. Formal notice has now been served to surrender the lease, and he will move to alternative private accommodation. Andrew is expected to relocate to a private property on the Sandringham estate. His ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, who has also lost her Duchess of York title, is said to be making her own living arrangements.
The Gazette notice is the written confirmation of that process. Removing someone's name from the registers of these orders is a significant administrative step. It is not something done casually, and it formally closes the chapter on Andrew's ceremonial role. Andrew, or his representatives, have not made any official statements about this latest development. He remains at Royal Lodge for now, and any future move will likely become clear in time. His public role is not returning. That much has been made plain over the last 4 years. He attends family events privately, but he no longer represents the monarchy or carries out engagements. This development also highlights how the king is choosing to handle matters of reputation and responsibility inside the family. The late Queen often dealt with sensitive issues behind closed doors. The king appears more willing to take formal action and place it on the public record. The timing, the wording, and the direct nature of the notices reflect that approach. But it raises another important question that many viewers will be asking. Why did this take so long? The issues surrounding Andrew have been present since at least 2019, and the fallout from the Newsnight interview was immediate. Yet only now, in late 2025, are we seeing the final removal of what remained of his official identity. We do not know the internal reasoning or what information they are working with. We do not know what discussions took place within the family or among advisors. We do not know whether there were legal or procedural steps that delayed things. What we do know now is that the king has now completed the process he began earlier this year. The next question centres on where Andrew will live and how his situation will be managed in the long run. He has been settled at Royal Lodge for a long time. A move to Sandringham, if it happens, would place him at a distance from Windsor and could help explain some of the recent reports about preparations behind the scenes. Sarah Ferguson will no longer live with him and is moving on to create an independent life. A statement was released earlier this week saying Sarah is assessing a number of options currently and no final decision has been made regarding her next residence. For now, we know this. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor no longer holds any titles, styles, or honours. His ceremonial identity has been removed. His name has been taken out of the registers. His life within the institution is over in the formal sense, even though he remains a member of the family by blood. Though they remain family, recent reports suggest that Andrew may not be invited to the royal family's Christmas celebrations at Sandringham this year. Several media outlets say that the king has reportedly asked him and his ex-wife to stay away, and sources describe their exclusion as part of the effort to keep them invisible at public and family events. That said, no official statement has been released by the palace, so the final list of attendees remains unconfirmed. But the trend in recent reporting would suggest Christmas 2025 may pass without Andrew in the family gathering. I would like to know what you think about this latest move. Do you believe this is the final stage of the palace's response to the Andrew story? Or do you think more changes are still coming? Do you think these changes come ahead of more information being released on Andrew's past behaviour? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. If you want to stay updated on every chapter of this story and every new development inside the royal family, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Thank you for watching.